They expect you to explode, to argue, to justify yourself. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing? In a world where everyone's quick to react, staying silent is the ultimate power move. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. In 2025, when the noise around us is louder than ever, mastering the art of cutting people off silently isn't just a choice, it's survival. Today, we're diving into how this mindset can change your life, backed by timeless wisdom and practical advice you can apply right now. 1. The power of silence in a reactive world. We live in an era where everyone seems to be shouting over each other, vying for attention. It's loud, chaotic, and relentless. The modern world thrives on reactions. It pushes you to respond, to engage, to fight back. Whether it's a heated comment on social media, an unwelcome opinion in a group chat, or a passive-aggressive remark from a coworker, the pressure to react is everywhere. Hey, Rack, this isn't crucial. Anything in the world that doesn't react is everywhere. But here's the thing, reacting emotionally doesn't just escalate the situation, it gives away your power. Imagine someone criticizes you unfairly. Your instinct might be to defend yourself, to explain, to prove them wrong. But stop for a moment. Ask yourself, why am I reacting? What do I gain from this? The truth is, reacting only feeds their energy. It pulls you into their chaos, dragging you down to their level. Silence, on the other hand, is a quiet but powerful form of resistance. When you choose not to react, you're not just withholding your words, you're sending a message. That message is, you don't control me. In that moment, your silence speaks volumes. You're showing that you're unbothered, that their negativity holds no weight in your life. Think of silence as a shield. It protects your energy. It keeps you from pouring fuel on a fire that was never yours to extinguish in the first place. Silence isn't weakness. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's a refusal to let someone else dictate your emotions. But silence doesn't just protect you, it empowers you. It allows you to observe, to think, and to act with intention. When you stop reacting, you create space for clarity. You see situations for what they truly are, not what your emotions make them seem. You recognize what's worth your time and energy and what isn't. Here's an example. Imagine someone insults you in a public setting. They want a reaction. They're hoping you'll get flustered, angry, or defensive. But instead of reacting, you simply pause. You look at them, say nothing, and move on. That silence, it's louder than any words you could have said. It shifts the power dynamic entirely. They're left with their negativity, while you walk away with your peace intact. Silence also gives you control over how you respond, if at all. Not every situation requires your input. Not every opinion needs a counter-argument. By choosing silence, you're choosing freedom. You're choosing to prioritize your mental clarity over their noise. In a reactive world, silence is a superpower. It's a reminder that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to explain yourself to people who've already made up their minds, and you certainly don't have to give your energy to negativity. So the next time someone provokes you, remember this: silence is strength, it's wisdom, and most importantly, it's peace. 7. Cutting off negativity, why it's essential in 2025. 2025 is here, and let's be honest, it's more overwhelming than ever. Technology has made life faster, louder, and more interconnected, but with that comes overstimulation. Everyone has something to say, and most of it doesn't serve you. Your phone buzzes with constant notifications. Social media is a minefield of opinions, arguments, and unsolicited advice. And in the middle of all this noise, it's easy to feel drained. Now more than ever, it's essential to identify what or who is adding value to your life and what's simply taking up space. Negativity, whether it comes from toxic relationships, online drama, or even your own self-doubt, is like a parasite. It feeds off your energy and leaves you feeling exhausted. The solution? Cut it off silently. Let's talk about toxic friendships. You know the ones. They're always complaining, gossiping, or finding ways to drag you into their problems. At first, you might think they just need someone to listen, or I don't want to seem rude. But over time, you realize they're not just venting, they're unloading their negativity onto you. And no matter how much support you give, it's never enough. The hard truth is, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Cutting off a toxic friend doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who values their peace. But here's the key. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to have a dramatic confrontation or explain why you're stepping away. Just reduce contact. Respond less. Stop initiating conversations. Over time, they'll get the message. The same applies to drama-filled coworkers or acquaintances. There will always be people who thrive on conflict. They'll drag you into petty arguments, criticize your work, or spread rumors just to stir the pot. Engaging with them only validates their behavior. But by cutting them off, whether that means minimizing interactions or setting firm boundaries, you're protecting your energy. And let's not forget about online negativity. Social media can be a wonderful tool, but it's also a breeding ground for arguments, trolling, and unnecessary stress. If someone's posts constantly irritate you, mute or unfollow them. If a comment section turns toxic, don't engage. Remember, you don't have to win every argument. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. But cutting off negativity isn't just about people, it's also about habits and environments. Maybe it's the endless scrolling on your phone that leaves you feeling empty, or the late-night binge watching that drains your energy the next day. Identifying these patterns and cutting them off silently can have a profound impact on your mental clarity. Here's the bottom line. Your time and energy are sacred. They're not infinite, and they're certainly not meant to be wasted on people or situations that drain you. By cutting off negativity, you're not just removing what's harmful, you're making room for what's healthy and uplifting. You're creating space for genuine connections, meaningful work, and personal growth. It's important to remember that cutting people off silently doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you're choosing to prioritize your well-being. And in 2025, when the world is more chaotic than ever, that's not just a choice, it's a necessity. So take a moment to evaluate your life. Who or what is adding value? And who or what is holding you back? Be honest with yourself. And when you find the negativity, don't argue with it. Don't try to fix it, just cut it off, silently, peacefully, and watch how much lighter you feel. 3, mastering the pause. Why not reacting is so powerful. One of the greatest strengths a person can develop is the ability to pause, to hold back, to resist the urge to react immediately when faced with a challenge, an insult, or even an opportunity. In today's fast-pacing, emotionally charged world, pausing feels counterintuitive. You're told to stand your ground, to speak your truth, to never let someone get away with disrespect. But here's the reality. Not every situation deserves your energy, and not every insult requires a rebuttal. Let's break this down. Imagine someone insults you in public. They might call you names, mock your appearance, or belittle your work. Your first instinct, naturally, is to defend yourself. You feel your heartbeat quicken, your palms sweat, and the words form on your tongue before you've even had a chance to think them through. It's human nature. We're wired to respond to perceived threats. But here's what's powerful: choosing not to respond. Pause. Breathe. Don't say a word. In that moment of silence, something remarkable happens. You regain control. You're no longer a marionette, dancing to the strings of someone else's provocation. Instead, you're the one pulling the strings. You decide where this situation goes next. Now let's be clear. Pausing isn't about weakness or avoidance. It's about strategy. Think about a chess match. The best players aren't the ones who rush to make a move. They take their time. They think several steps ahead. Reacting immediately is like playing checkers, but pausing turns life into a game of chess. When you pause, you can see the board clearly. You can anticipate the consequences of your actions. And more often than not, you'll realize that the best move is no move at all. When you react emotionally, you're handing the other person your power. You're saying, "You've got me. You've pushed my buttons, and now I'm at your mercy." But when you pause, you're sending a completely different message. You don't control me. I'm in charge of how I respond, or if I respond at all. Think about it like this. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic and flips you the bird. Your first instinct might be to honk your horn, yell, or even speed up to confront them. But what does that accomplish? You're now tangled in their negativity. You've let a momentary irritation ruin your mood. But what if you paused instead? What if you just smiled, took a deep breath, and kept driving? Suddenly, the power dynamic shifts. They're stuck in their anger, but you've moved on. You've chosen peace over pettiness. The power of the pause goes beyond daily annoyances. It's a life philosophy. In every situation, pausing gives you a chance to ask yourself 3 crucial questions. Is my life cluttered? Yes, sure. Is this worth my time and energy? Will my response change anything for the better? What outcome do I want from this situation? Most of the time, the answers will lead you to silence, because the truth is, the best response to negativity is no response at all. But pausing isn't just about dealing with others. It's also about dealing with yourself. Sometimes the battle isn't external, it's internal. Maybe you've made a mistake at work and your mind is racing with self-criticism. Or maybe you're facing a difficult decision and your emotions are clouding your judgment. In these moments, pausing is a gift you give to yourself. It's a chance to step back, breathe, and think clearly. Pausing doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means acknowledging them without letting them dictate your actions. It's about saying, I see you, anger. I see you, frustration, but I'm not letting you control me. Now, some might argue that pausing makes you seem passive or indifferent, but the truth is, pausing is one of the most assertive things you can do. It takes discipline to hold back when everything in you wants to lash out. It takes strength to stay silent when the world expects you to scream. And it takes wisdom to recognize that not every battle is worth fighting. Here's an example to put it into perspective. Picture 2 people in a heated argument. One is shouting, gesturing wildly, their face red with anger. The other is calm, silent, simply observing. Who looks more powerful? Who seems more in control? It's the one who isn't reacting. Their calmness is their armor. Their silence is their strength. The same principle applies to life. When you pause, instead of reacting, you're telling the world, I am in control of my emotions. I don't respond to chaos. I create calm. In 2025, where distractions and provocations are everywhere, mastering the pause isn't just a skill, it's a survival tactic. It protects your mental health, it preserves your energy, and most importantly, it keeps you focused on what truly matters. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this. Pausing isn't about letting them win. It's about ensuring you don't lose. Don't let their negativity pull you into a fight that doesn't serve you. Instead, pause, think, and choose peace over reaction. 4. Stoic wisdom for modern problems. The principles of Stoicism have been around for centuries, but the relevance today is striking. Stoicism, at its core, is about control. Specifically, controlling your mind and your reactions. Ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca spent their lives teaching one fundamental truth. We can't control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. Now think about that in the context of 2025. The world is more unpredictable than ever. Social media bombards us with opinions. News headlines thrive on fear and outrage, and personal relationships, they're often complicated by misunderstandings and miscommunications. It's easy to feel like life is spinning out of control, but Stoicism reminds us that chaos is external. Your peace is internal. Your peace is internal. Let's start with Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who wrote Meditations. One of his most famous quotes is this: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just ancient wisdom, it's a survival guide for modern life. Imagine someone criticizes you harshly, whether it's online or in person. Your instinct might be to clap back, to defend yourself, or to match their negativity with your own. But what would Marcus Aurelius say? He'd remind you that their words are outside your control. Your reaction, however, is entirely within your control. And when you choose not to react, you're exercising that control. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught a similar lesson. He said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In 2025, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. Life will throw challenges your way. People will disappoint you. Situations will frustrate you. But none of these things have the power to affect you unless you let them. Think about the last time someone upset you. Was it their actions that hurt you? Or was it your interpretation of their actions? Stoicism teaches us to separate the two. The insult itself doesn't hurt. It's your choice to take it personally that causes the pain. By cutting off negativity silently, you're practicing this principle. You're refusing to let external events dictate your internal peace. Finally, Seneca, another Stoic master, had this advice: if you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. This is powerful because it shifts the focus from the external to the internal. It's not about changing the people around you, it's about changing your mindset. In 2025, Stoic wisdom is your greatest ally. It's a reminder that while you can't control the chaos of the world, you can always control your response to it. By embracing these teachings, you're not just cutting off negativity, you're cultivating resilience, clarity, and peace. 5. Silent boundaries, protecting your energy. In life, there's a profound truth that most of us learn the hard way. Not everyone deserves access to you. Your energy, time, and peace of mind are priceless, yet we often give them away to people who drain us without even realizing it. That's where the concept of silent boundaries comes into play. It's not about ghosting people or acting out of spite. It's about protecting yourself, your mental clarity, your emotional balance without unnecessary confrontation. Let's paint a picture here. You have a friend, or maybe it's a coworker or even a family member, who thrives on negativity. Every time you're around them, the conversation feels heavy. They're complaining, gossiping, or dragging you into their drama. After spending time with them, you feel drained, like they've taken something from you. Sound familiar? Now, the instinctive approach might be to confront them head on, to say, look, your negativity is too much for me. I need space. And while directness has its place, it often leads to unnecessary conflict. What if instead you chose silence? What if instead of announcing your boundaries, you simply lived by them? Here's how silent boundaries work. Let's start small. When that person texts you with another complaint or demand for attention, you don't have to reply right away or at all. You don't need to justify your delayed response or explain yourself. You're busy, you're focusing on your peace, and that's reason enough. Next, start creating physical distance. When they invite you to hang out, it's okay to say no. Politely decline, but don't feel the need to over-explain. I can't make it, but thanks for asking. Simple, calm, and firm. They may not notice right away, but over time, they'll understand that the access they once had to you is no longer guaranteed. Silent boundaries aren't about being rude or cutting people off without reason. They're about recognizing that you don't owe everyone an explanation. Sometimes the best way to protect your energy is to quietly remove yourself from situations or relationships that don't serve you. Now let's address the discomfort that comes with this. Setting boundaries, especially silently, can feel selfish or even harsh at first. You might worry, what if they think I don't care? What if I'm hurting them? But here's the truth. Prioritizing your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving your energy to people who drain you, you'll have nothing left for yourself or for those who truly matter. Think of it like this. Imagine your energy as a rechargeable battery. Every interaction either charges you up or drains you. The people who bring positivity, encouragement, and support into your life, they're your chargers. But the ones who bring drama, negativity, and unnecessary conflict, they're draining your battery. And if you're not careful, they'll leave you running on empty. Silent boundaries are your way of managing this energy. They allow you to say, I value myself too much to let others drain me. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't need anyone's permission to set these boundaries. You don't need their approval. It's your life, your peace, and your rules. But let's take it deeper. Silent boundaries aren't just about protecting yourself from others. They're also about teaching people how to treat you. When you stop responding to negativity, when you remove yourself from drama, you're sending a clear message. I don't operate on this frequency. Over time, the people who don't align with your values will naturally drift away, and the ones who respect your boundaries will remain. It's important to note that silent boundaries don't mean cutting people out of your life completely. Sometimes they're just about creating space. Maybe you have a family member who means well, but constantly oversteps. Instead of cutting them off, you might limit the time you spend with them, or redirect conversations away from topics that stress you out. Here's a practical example. Let's say you have a coworker who loves to gossip. Every time they start, you feel uncomfortable, but you don't want to seem rude. Instead of engaging, try this. Change the subject. If they persist, excuse yourself. Over time, they'll get the hint. You're not interested in gossip, and they'll either adjust their behavior or find someone else to talk to. Silent boundaries are also about understanding that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people come into your life for a season, and when their purpose is fulfilled, it's okay to let them go. Holding on to relationships out of guilt or obligation only weighs you down. Here's a hard truth. Not everyone will understand or respect your boundaries, and that's okay. You're not responsible for how others feel about the decisions you make for your well-being. Some people might accuse you of being distant or cold. They might try to guilt you into re-engaging, but remember this. Anyone who truly cares about you will respect your need for space. In the end, silent boundaries are about choosing peace over approval. They're about saying, I refuse to let anyone disturb my inner calm. And that's a lesson we can all take to heart in 2025. 6. The emotional weight of reacting. Let's talk about a truth we often ignore. Every time you react emotionally, you're carrying a weight you don't need. Think about it. How many hours have you spent replaying an argument in your head, thinking about all the things you should have said? How often have you let someone's rude comment ruin your entire day? That's the emotional weight of reacting, and it's heavier than we realize. Picture this. Someone makes a snide remark about you. Maybe it's a coworker undermining your work, or a stranger online criticizing your appearance. Your instinct is to fire back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But what happens next? Even if you win the argument, you've still invested your energy into something negative. You've allowed their words to take up space in your mind. Now imagine a different approach. Instead of reacting, you let it go. No reply, no confrontation, just silence. At first, this might feel uncomfortable. You might feel like you're letting them win or that you're running away, but over time, you'll realize you're not running. You're freeing yourself. You're choosing peace over chaos. And that's a strength most people don't have. Here's the thing, reacting emotionally doesn't just drain your energy, it also gives the other person power over you. When you respond to their negativity, you're validating it. You're saying your words have enough weight to affect me. But when you stay silent, you're taking that power back. You're showing them, and yourself, that you're in control. But let's not ignore the internal battle. Sometimes the weight of reacting isn't about what you say to others. It's about what you say to yourself. Maybe you've made a mistake and you're beating yourself up over it. Or maybe you're stuck in a cycle of overthinking, replaying scenarios in your mind that you can't change. The emotional weight of self-criticism can be just as heavy as reacting to others. That's why it's so important to practice self-compassion. Instead of reacting to your mistakes with anger or frustration, respond with kindness. Remind yourself that you're human, that you're learning, and that it's okay to not have it all figured out. In 2025, where the world is louder and more reactive than ever, choosing not to react is an act of rebellion. It's a way of saying, I refuse to carry the weight of negativity. It's about lightening your load, both mentally and emotionally, so you can focus on what truly matters. And that is being able to trust God. And that, to you, He will trust you first and foremost. 7. Reclaiming your time and focus. Here's a thought. How much of your life have you spent tangled up in things that don't matter? A petty argument, a snide remark, a passive-aggressive comment? How many hours, days, even weeks have these distractions stolen from you? Now multiply that over a year. Multiply it over a lifetime. The numbers become staggering, don't they? This is the reality of reacting. It consumes your most valuable resource, time. And in 2025, when life feels faster and more chaotic than ever, time is not just precious. It's sacred. Think about this. Every second you spend arguing with someone who doesn't have your best interests at heart is a second you could have spent working on your goals, building something meaningful, or simply enjoying your life. Every ounce of energy you pour into negativity is energy that could have been invested in your dreams. When you react, you're giving away your time and focus to things that don't deserve them. Let's break it down. Picture yourself scrolling through social media. You see a post that frustrates you. Maybe it's a political opinion you disagree with, or someone flaunting a lifestyle that makes you feel inadequate. Your first instinct might be to comment, to argue, to prove a point. But here's the catch. By the time you've written that comment or engaged in that argument, you've already lost. You've spent precious minutes, even hours, reacting to something that doesn't improve your life. What if, instead, you chose silence? You scrolled past without a second thought. You redirected your focus to something that adds value. Reading a book, learning a skill, spending time with loved ones. How would your life change if you made this a habit? Here's the beauty of reclaiming your time and focus. It's not just about cutting out negativity, it's about making space for what truly matters. When you stop reacting, you create room for growth. You gain the mental clarity to prioritize your goals. You gain the discipline to focus on the people and activities that enrich your life. Let's go deeper. Reacting isn't just about time, it's about attention. And in 2025, attention is the real currency. Every app, every platform, every notification is fighting for a piece of your attention. They want you to react, to engage, to stay distracted. Because when you're distracted, you're not in control of your life. Cutting people off silently is a way of reclaiming that control. It's about saying, my attention is mine, and I choose where to spend it. It's about being intentional with your energy and focusing it on things that align with your values and your purpose. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Reclaiming your time and focus requires discipline. It requires self-awareness. It means resisting the urge to engage. Even when it's tempting, it means recognizing that some battles aren't worth fighting and some arguments aren't worth winning. Here's a practical example. Say you're working on a project that's important to you. Your phone buzzes. It's a message from someone who always seems to bring drama into your life. You feel the pull to respond, to dive into their latest issue. But instead, you pause. You ask yourself, does this deserve my attention right now? And then you make a choice, a conscious, intentional choice to stay focused on what matters. Over time, this practice becomes a habit. You start to notice the little things that used to derail your day. And here's the best part. When you reclaim your time and focus, you start to see results. Your projects progress, your relationships improve, your sense of peace grows. By cutting off negativity and distractions, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. So how do you start? Begin with small steps. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Set boundaries around your time. Practice saying no to things that don't align with your priorities. And most importantly, resist the urge to react. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you're taking back a piece of your life. Every time you focus on what truly matters, you're building a future that aligns with your dreams. And in 2025, when the world feels louder and more chaotic than ever, that's a power worth embracing. 8. Moving forward, living with intention. Let's end with a simple but profound question. How do you want to live your life? Do you want to spend your days reacting to every little thing, constantly distracted and drained? Or do you want to live with intention, focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't? Living with intention means making conscious choices. It means deciding what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It's about aligning your actions with your values and your purpose. And in 2025, when the world is filled with noise and distractions, this mindset is more important than ever. And this mindset is more important than ever. Here's the first step. Start small. The next time someone provokes you, resist the urge to reply. Take a deep breath, step back, and let your silence speak for itself. Notice how it feels to take back your power. Notice how freeing it is to let go of the need to explain or defend yourself. Remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing your peace. You don't need to justify why you're cutting someone off or why you're choosing not to engage. Your silence is enough. Your actions or lack of them speak louder than words. But living with intention isn't just about cutting people off. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values. It's about spending your time and energy on the things that matter most to you. It's about building relationships with people who uplift and support you. It's about pursuing your goals with focus and determination. Think about the life you want to create. Maybe it's a life filled with meaningful work, close relationships, and personal growth. Maybe it's a life of peace and simplicity. Whatever it looks like for you, know this: you have the power to create it. But you can't do that if you're constantly reacting to negativity and distractions. Living with intention requires courage. It means making tough choices. It means letting go of relationships that no longer serve you, even if it's hard. It means setting boundaries and sticking to them, even when others push back. But the rewards are worth it. When you live with intention, you're no longer at the mercy of the world around you. You're in control of your life. You're the one deciding how you spend your time and energy. And that's a power no one can take away from you. So as you move forward, remember this. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to engage with negativity. You don't have to explain or defend your choices. Live with intention. Focus on what matters. And let your silence speak louder than words. Remember, cutting people off silently isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values and your purpose. In a world that thrives on noise, silence is revolutionary. By cutting off negativity without reacting, you're not just protecting your peace, you're mastering your life. Want more wisdom like this? Watch the next video now.